Hello, I am Sungeun taking the Library 201 honors course. Today I am going to be presenting on the topic of violation of consumer privacy by social media. Electronic devices and the internet has now become part of our lives. However, as most people go online daily, many do not know how their information is getting tracked. I will be explaining my research on how social media companies and other technology companies are violating consumer privacy. Online privacy is how much of a user's personal, financial, and browsing information remains private when online. It is important that we know that none of the online services are free and will require you to share data of yourself. Whether we are downloading apps, using free email services such as Gmail, using social media like Facebook and Instagram, or even visiting a website, you're sharing some kind of information about yourself. There are several reasons why online privacy is important. First is because you do not want to share personal information and details about your life with strangers. You do not know what information is getting gathered by whom. Information collected by a company might be shared with another, and they are gathered, shared, and sold without the user's consent. Therefore, issues regarding online privacy has been existing regarding the risks that affect the user's personal life. There are several ways of companies gathering the user's information, majorly divided into 5, through search engines user tracking, cookies/online tracking, mobile app, social media data harvesting, and identity theft. The first major method is search engine user tracking. Search engines collect your search history, cookies, IP addresses, and click-through history. They use this information for the use of profiling, which is compositing a consumer persona based on browsing, shopping, and social media preferences. They gain information about each user, making them their personalized advertisements and different search results. Cookies are codes that tell website information on your browsing history, which in turn can help the user by remembering login information, identification, preference settings, language settings, and more. However, cookies become one of the concerns when third-party ad serving is involved. When visiting a site, information of the sources you visited determines the ads you see. Companies like Google collect vast amounts of consumer data to deliver personalized ads based on browsing history. An example of this is Spotify and Pandora. Based on the music you have listened in the past, Spotify suggests albums that you might enjoy. This makes it very useful for the users to find music that they have not heard of before. But we need to know that it uses cookies to remember the information about the user's song preferences. We all have mobile apps on our phones, but these apps also harvest personal information. Many of them request location details, usernames, and email addresses. After providing this information, you are also asked for risky permission, which are the phone's recorder, camera, and contact information. Most people spend a lot of their times on mobile apps that do not offer transparency on how they are being tracked or sold. Because there really are no tools for blocking these behaviors, we must simply rely on the operating system makers to publicize guidelines to developers on the process of tracking, asking for personal information, and transferring data to remote servers. Apple's rules, for instance, require that apps must obtain a person's permission before transmitting personal data and have to describe how and where the data will be used. Social media has risen to the issues when major social network sites have had data breaches, leaving millions of users' personal information exposed. There have been other issues such as Cambridge Analytica story, cyberbullying, and doxing. Cambridge Analytica data scandal happened when the British consulting firm Cambridge Analytica obtained the personal data of millions of Facebook users without their consent for political advertising, which shocked a lot of people. Doxing is searching for and publishing private or identifying information about a particular person online, typically with malicious intent. Cyberbullying, as most people know, is using electronic communication to bully a person. It can be connected to doxing as it uses the information of particular persons to express them. Social media mining is a process of obtaining big data from user-generated content on social media sites and mobile apps in order to extract patterns from conclusions about users and act upon the information for the purposes of advertising to users or conducting research. The last method of violating consumer privacy is identity theft. Identity theft is all types of crime in which a person wrongfully obtains and uses another person's personal data in some way that involves fraud or deception. In short, identity theft occurs when someone accesses the user's personally identifiable information to commit fraud. This information includes the driver's license, bank account details, tax numbers, and other data that can impersonate him online. Online identity theft happens when these thieves steal the user's digital personal information, mostly using scams like planting malicious software on their computers, not with simple techniques such as stealing your purse. There are 4 ways to source the information, which are phishing, malware, farming, and discarded phones and computers. Identity theft can be said as more of criminal activity than companies violating the user's information. Phishing is when criminals trick the users to surrender sensitive or malicious information by sending emails purporting to be from reputable companies such as financial institutions. Malware, shorthand for malicious software, is malicious software that can access the user's computer operating system, such as viruses, ransom, and spyware. It typically consists of code developed by cyber attackers designed to cause extensive damage to data and systems or to gain unauthorized access to a network. Farming is hijacking information using a virus, often through fake websites that redirect users into. Identity theft can also happen through discarded computers and phones where information of the past users remain. So make sure any device you get rid of is thoroughly scrubbed before you sell it or give it away. Companies track, gather, share, and sell the information collected from several ways for a better understanding of the users, providing them with personalized search results and advertisements. However, there are also crimes that violate the personal information of the users. It is hard to completely avoid having the information tracked, but there are several ways to protect online privacy. They include using different search engines, securing your mobile devices, using antivirus software, not sharing private information with the public, using secure passwords, and keeping the contact information private. Overall, the best way to protect your personal information is not oversharing on social media and securing your information and histories. To summarize, there are five major types of methods companies use to track our personal information, violating our consumer privacy. Even though there are many risks online, because internet has become part of our lives, we can use different types of ways to avoid getting tracked. Thank you. And these are my works cited in MLA format.